Yo. What's going on, yo? What's going on, yo? It's DFJ Hoops here, back again with another live stream. Appreciate y'all for tuning in. Appreciate y'all. Hey, man, we got a great show. We about to talk about the Sixers, their performances as of late. The Sixers are 4 games. They've won 4 games in a row. The first ever winning streak. Now, I did tell a couple of people that the Sixers. I told people that Sixers about to win 18 in a row, which I was clearly trolling, but this is a good win streak for them. But yeah, I appreciate y'all for tuning in. Shout out to my guy Mike. Appreciate you. Says what up, Dre. He says you seen that YBC duel picture they released on Christmas. That was out of I seen that, bro. I saw it on Philly ESPN. I mean, those pages they drawn, bro. Those pages, Philly Street Keeper, Philly Scoreboard. Philly ESPN, like it's just out of pocket, bro. And when I saw that picture, I felt sad, bro. But later on, I was calling the basketball game, so that kind of like took my mind off of it a little bit, because it was like it was on my mind the whole time. I was like, dang, that sucks. But why would they even do this on Christmas? But yeah, I seen it, bro. But appreciate you, bro. And salute to my guy, Mike Sports Vibes. Thank you for vibing with me. Appreciate you, Mike. I got a lot of mics in here, though. Yeah, but Mike, yeah, appreciate you. Yeah. I seen this new channel. I definitely got to tune in. I got to check you out on the new channel. I'm just used to the older one. So, yeah, but appreciate you. Yeah, Mike, please subscribe to my guy, Mike Sports Vibes Ballin'. And you can sub to his other channel, his other account. He got 2 channels. So make sure you do subscribe to both of them. But yeah, let's not waste any more time. Let's just get right into this. So the 76ers, now the last time we spoke, I haven't done a show in about 2 to 3 weeks because I've been, moving around a lot. So I haven't really had enough time to actually sit down and, try to, do shows like this. But I called the Christmas games, right? The Sixers, when they took on the Boston Celtics, I called that game. We was all on here on the show. Mike definitely called it on his platform as well. But yeah, I think the last show I did was what you call it was on the Orlando Magic. I think the second game, right? That was the last post game. That's the last post game show that I did, right? So ever since then, I haven't done a show. And the Sixers, they've played some, they play some pretty good teams, play some good games. Lost a few games here or there. They beat the Indiana Pacers beat them, which that was a terrible loss for them, right? And then they lost to the Cleveland Cavaliers, which was a blowout. Shout out to my guy Tune in Sports, who's a Cleveland Cavaliers content creator. Y'all can go sub to his channel. The Sixers, as of currently, in the last 10 games, they are 8-2, and in the last 5 games, they're 4-1. Right? They're 4-1. The only loss came against the Cleveland Cavaliers. Salute to my guy George Nemitz from George Nemitz of Green Bay, Wisconsin. It doesn't make a difference who wins or loses. The attitude that speaks much louder than words. Oh, you talking about the Sixers? Yeah, I'm gonna definitely get to it. But appreciate your comment, bro. Appreciate you. If you're not sub to the channel, make sure you're subscribed. But the Sixers, like I was saying, 8-2 in the last 10 games, 4-1 in the last 5 games, which the only loss came against the Cleveland Cavaliers, and that game was very, very interesting. I think Embiid did not play. It was a back-to-back for the Sixers. And Paul George, he laid an egg. Now, Paul George, I have a lot to say tonight or today, but let me start with the negatives and then I'll move on to the positives. But Paul George, in the last few games that he has played, has not been very, very good. It's no secret, right? I mean, I'm talking about offensively, and I'm talking about, scoring the ball with his efficiency. It hasn't really been there. Now, the shot creation has been there, right? Creating opportunities for other guys. It's definitely been there. But him actually converting himself, that has been a struggle for him. He's shooting tour dates, right? Against Boston on Christmas. It wasn't really good, even though he was still trying to be aggressive, still trying to make plays, but shots was just not falling for him, right? He got to his spots like he usually does, but the shots was just not falling for him. Now, sometimes he lets the defense off the hook a little bit, because against Boston, I felt like there are a lot of opportunities where he could have, overwhelmed whoever was guarding him with his size, pause if necessary, but he just, settled for a perimeter shot, right? There was a play against I think Peyton Pritchard, and he had him on the left-hand side of the block, and he shot that tough turnaround fadeaway shot, which was very, very terrible for him. I expected him to do something much better. Shout out to my guy Casual in the building. Appreciate you. Salute. Y'all can sub to my guy RJD Podcast. Y'all can yeah, I think his channel is a Casual Connection, a Casual Vibes. But yeah, y'all can go sub to him. Very knowledgeable person about the game of basketball. I really appreciate him on the platform, and I respect his basketball acumen too. So y'all should definitely check him out. And shout out to Brian Pumper, man. Shout out to him. He says PG is basically a bona fide Dorian Finney-Smith. Yeah, that hey, I disagree with that. I think he's much better than what he's playing right now. But I think as of right now, I'm not going to be so worried and concerned with his offense, because the Sixers are winning games. So I'm not even going to focus on that. But I mean, it'll be better to see him perform, play better, right? Perform better, play better, be aggressive from start to finish. I like the effort on defense. He's been playing some good defense, right? I don't think anybody's going to take that away from him. But offensively, his struggles continues, and I was expecting him to break out of his shooting slump against the Utah Jazz, right? Because against the Jazz, that's a team that he typically plays good against, right? If you watch the Clippers a few years back, he had some games where he was going off on the Jazz. So I was anticipating that he, breaks out of that shooting slump against the Jazz, but it didn't happen that night. And then against the Portland Trailblazers, it was very, very terrible for him. I felt like he played some good defense, in stretches, but the offensive side of the floor is where, the struggle was. And, he was in foul trouble. right? He was in foul trouble. He picked up like 3 fouls in the first quarter, right? 3 fouls, which is crazy, right? Some of those fouls were, questionable fouls, questionable calls, but nonetheless, he got called for those. So, he missed the entire second quarter, right? And then in the third, he came in, and you could tell that he was clearly struggling, not in rhythm. And PG's a rhythm guy, right? PG, I've been watching him for years. He's a rhythm guy. If he starts off the game, and he's not in rhythm, he's not going to have a pretty good game, right? It's not going to be his night, and clearly last night wasn't his night. So, me personally, like I said, I'm not going to focus on him too much. I'll focus more on the positives, but I just wanted to get this negative out the way. I believe Paul George is definitely going to play better, right? He's not going to, his performances, and then you bring up the amount of the amount of money he's making this year, and it's just like, yeah, it's a little bit too much. You know what I'm saying? But I believe he's definitely gonna start playing better against Sacramento. I think he's definitely gonna have a better game. I'm anticipating that he has a better game, but as of right now, I'm not really gonna focus on that too much. Mike says PG's offense is suspect right now. Yeah, because he's settling a lot. I think he should start being more aggressive and attack the rim more. Right now, I'm not gonna judge him based on last night, because he was in foul trouble, and I heard some people saying that the third foul he picked it up on purpose because he didn't want to play. So there's some Sixer fans who believe that PG didn't really want to play last night. So, but I'm not gonna say that. That's a little bit extreme. But everybody is entitled to their opinions. So I'm gonna just leave it at that. Brian Pumper says. He says he's Dorian Finney-Smith with the dribble package. Yeah, come on, bro. We not doing that. We're not doing that. But yeah, I appreciate you though. He says, how's PG more washed than Russell Westbrook? I don't think PG's washed. It's just struggles, right? Players go through this all the time. Some of the best players, they go through some of these struggles, right? But like I said, the good thing is that we're winning games, right? The good thing is we're winning games. Joel Embiid, Maxey, and some of the complementary pieces are stepping up. So I think that gives Paul George has a time to start to get back into rhythm to help the Sixers even be a much better team, right? So I think that's what it is. But I'm not gonna say he's washed. That's a little bit that's a little bit extreme. But yeah, let me switch gears a little bit. Let me go to Tyrese Maxey. You know what I'm saying? Tyrese Maxey has been playing good. Had a solid, or not even a solid, had a very great Christmas Day game, which when he was running the offense, that's when the Sixers, I think, when he was running the offense, that's when the Sixers were at their best, in my opinion, because they were sharing the ball, they were moving the ball, players were moving, and Maxey was being aggressive, attacking the paint, settling, and sometimes in the mid-range, he would just make plays from the mid-range. You'll find some guys in transition on a fast break and feed them, the Kelly Oubre's, the Yabuselis, and things of that nature. But Maxey has been playing so good, right? And that's why he's the Eastern Conference Player of the Week for games for last week, right? In that stretch, I think he averaged like 32 points, 8 assists, and 7 rebounds, something crazy like that. So Tyrese Maxey has been getting into rhythm. Now, he started off the season a little bit, the percentages were not looking great. We were losing, and his shot selection was in question a little bit, right? But now, I think now with Embiid on the floor, playing alongside with Paul George, I think that's really helping his game a lot, and he's picking, times in which he can go off, right? He's not trying to, do too much, and not trying to take all the shots, and not try to be the most aggressive person on the floor, but he's doing what you want your point guard to be doing, right? Be aggressive, make plays for other guys, find easy opportunities for other guys, and I think he's doing that. And as of right now, I think he's definitely making a case to be to make the All-Star team for the second time. But in the Eastern Conference, I don't know what it's looking like with the other guards. Now, obviously, Donovan Mitchell is going to make the All-Star team. Jalen Brunson is definitely going to make the All-Star team. Damian Lillard, right? Those guys are going to make the All-Star team. But other than those 3 guys, who else can make it? Trae Young is definitely going to make it as well, right? So that's 4 right there. Y'all can help me with the other two, but as of right now, I think Maxey should definitely make the All-Star team. And I'm not saying that because of last week, because he's Eastern Conference Player of the Week, but the whole year he's been putting in work. Now the efficiency is not looking good, right? But the production is there, the impact is there, the performances are there. So I think Maxey definitely deserves to be he deserves to make the All-Star team, but that's not for me to decide. That's for the NBA and fans to vote whether or not he should make the All-Star team. But yeah, I believe if the Sixers have any player make the All-Star team, I think Maxey. I don't think Embiid. He's not going to play enough games. Paul George, his performances are not All-Star caliber. So Tyrese Maxey's definitely he's definitely next in line for the All-Star game. But Maxey played a good game last night as well against the Portland Trailblazers. Now, I mean, the Trailblazers, they're not a good, not a good team, so you can expect Maxey to, do what he usually does best against them, against a team like that. So, but great performance from him, and some of the other guys as well. You know what I'm saying? Guys stepped up. Guys are, they're taking care of business. They're doing what they're supposed to do, and you'll have people say that, oh, you're only beating, some of these weaker teams. You're only beating up on weaker competition. But, I mean, that's what they're supposed to do, right? You're supposed to beat any team or any team that's in your way. And with the Sixers in the predicament that they're in right now, I don't think they can afford to, give up games that they're supposed to win, right? If you're playing a team and you're supposed to win that game, you do whatever it takes to win that game, right? Now, since last time we spoke, I think the Sixers were the 14th seed, right? The 14th seed with about 9 or 10 games under 500. But as of right now, as we speak currently, the Sixers are the 11th seed, and their record is a lot better than what it was prior. I think they're only 4 games under 500. I could be wrong, but yeah, only 4 games under 500, 13 to 17, 11th seed. And guess what? They're only 4 games out the 6th seed, out the 5th or 6th seed, right? So if they can continue to play as they've been playing, taking care of business, playing good on both sides of the floor, offensively, defensively, and generate offense and also get stops when necessary, I think the Sixers can definitely get back into the playoff picture, right? They're not currently in the playoff picture, right? And I know the title says that the Sixers are back in business, which somebody's going to look at that and call it extreme, but I think they're making progress towards that, right? They're making progress towards the top 6 seed, or I mean, let's say the play-in, right? You have to get in the play-in before you can make your way into the top 6 seed, right? But yeah, and I think they can definitely do it, right? The journey of 1,000 miles, it begins with one step, right? The journey of 1,000 miles begins with one step. So they're getting closer and closer to their goals. Now, if I'm any Sixer player, I'm not going to be too excited because you're still out the play-in, even though you're doing what you're doing. You've won 4 of the last 5 games, but we're not at where we're supposed to be at, right? This is not where we're supposed to be at. This is not where we want to be at. So I think that the guys have to still put the work in, right? Night in and night out, show up to games, do what's necessary to win. Listen to the coaches, and I think the Sixers will be fine from that, right? They're definitely things will definitely be good if they keep doing what they've been doing. Yeah, my guy Brian Pumper is just Brian Pumper being funny. People also thought that Joel Embiid was washed at one point. Yeah, I've heard people say that, and other people are saying that he's done. His injuries is not going to get any better. But I always felt like Embiid, his game is not predicated off athleticism. So he's he has good touch around the rim. He's a good jump shooter, and he can get to his spots. The turnaround, the fadeaways, like the jabs, like the game is there. Like he has a very, very his game is not just predicated off athleticism. That's why I never bought into the Embiid is washed logic, because I know what his game is like. It's kind of like Kevin Durant, right? Now I'm not saying Embiid is Kevin Durant, but after KD went through that Achilles injury, he came back and was, people even say that in 2021, that was the best version of Kevin Durant. And that was even after his Achilles injury, right? Because his game is not predicated off athleticism. Like, he has a complete all-around game. He can get to his spots. He can kill you from the mid-range, kill you from the three, and he can also get to the basket when necessary. And Embiid is, he's similar in that bracket because Embiid's game, he plays on the box, at the elbow, the free throw line area. Like, that's his zone, right? So I never bought into the Joel Embiid is washed. But speaking of Embiid, let's focus on Embiid for now. So Embiid, solid performance yesterday against a player that I don't like, DeAndre Ayton. I don't like DeAndre Ayton, and I ain't even gonna lie. I was expecting a 40-20 game, right? I was expecting a 40-20 game. Now, Embiid was closer to 40 than he was to 20 in terms of the rebounding, which Embiid's rebounds are always going to be a concern of mine because he's not really rebounding the basketball to the level that I really want. I mean, I want my big man. I want my center to be grabbing like double-digit rebounds night in and night out. Right, I'm very, very huge on rebounding. I really like rebounding, but I think at this point, I don't think Embiid can give you that same. He's not going to be a glass cleaner that he once was, right? Because the injuries, getting off the floor, jumping. I think he's trying to do as less jumping as possible to preserve his knees for the long haul. So I think me expecting him to grab 10, double-digit rebounds, that's not going to happen all the time. But Embiid played a very, very, very good game last night against the Trailblazers. Yeah, a terrible team against a terrible defender and DeAndre Ayton. But I mean, you can only play whoever's in front of you, and Embiid did what he was supposed to do, right? Dominate from start to finish, right? That was a good performance from Joel Embiid. I think that's his season high for this season. Not a career high, but a season high. For this season, he dropped 37 points, 9 rebounds, and 3 assists. So 37 points, closer to 40, but the 20 rebounds is not 9 rebounds to 20. That's that's pretty far and not what I was expecting. But Embiid still playing the way he's playing, and that was probably, I think he was more aggressive last night than he has been this season. Getting to his spots, sometimes even going all the way to the rim. I think Embiid played an all-around game yesterday, right? Even though it's against the Portland Trailblazers. But, I'll definitely take that performance any day of the week. And, I think Embiid is definitely, he's definitely getting into, how do I even put this? He's playing more and more. He's playing more games, and, his body's now trying to get used to the workload, right? He wasn't playing as many minutes. He wasn't playing as many games to the start of the season, but now, the injuries are going down, even though he still has the face mask on. I think now his body's now getting used to, playing, at a high level. So I expect Embiid to be even much better than what he is right now, right? I wouldn't be surprised if I see a 40-point game in the very near future, right? Now, I said I'm not going to be surprised, but am I expecting that? No, I don't think Embiid should score 40 on this team. I think, if they run the offense and they share the ball, everybody gets a feel of it, everybody gets a touch, and, guys are really involved in the offense, that's going to be very, very huge for this team. It's going to boost the confidence of players up, like, the Yabuselis, and, other players, Kelly Oubre, shout out to Kelly Oubre, right? I'm going to get to him in a few minutes here, but good game from these players, and since I brought him up, let me just speak on him, right? So Kelly Oubre has been very, very good for the Sixers. Not just scoring. Now he has certain nights where he's scoring the basketball pretty good, and certain nights where he's not shooting the ball efficiently. But one thing that I always give him credit for is the effort on defense, right? His effort on defense is always going to be there. He's always guarding the best player on the other team. He's always taking that matchup, always has that assignment. And, he really impressed me in the Christmas Day game where He was guarding Jaylen Brown, and he did a fantastic job on Jaylen Brown. He was one of the huge reasons why Jaylen Brown only had 2 points in the first half of that game. Right now, obviously, you're not going to hold Jaylen Brown to only 2 points. Right, he's guaranteed 20 shots a night, so he's going to get the shots up. But what you can do is to make him as inefficient as possible. And Kelly Oubre he did that to the best of his abilities. He poked them a few times, right? Got him to turn the ball over. I think in the first half he had like 4 turnovers or something like that, right? So Kelly Oubre was all over Jaylen Brown, all over the floor, right? Picking him up full court, picking him up half court, and trying to make things very, very difficult for Jaylen Brown. And not just Jaylen Brown, other teams that we played, he got on the best players, the best perimeter players. Now sometimes it didn't really end well, right? Against the Cleveland Cavaliers, they ended up blowing the Sixers out. But what I'm saying is that the effort on defense is always there, right? The effort in defense is always there, and when he's open, he takes some of these open shots. Sometimes he makes them, sometimes he misses, right? But he's a very, very good transition player. He can get all the way to the rim. Very athletic, and finish with both hands around the rim, right? And sometimes he gets to the free throw line and he's able to convert from the free throw line. But the defense is something that I always will give him credit for, because he is taking that matchup. He has that assignment, and he's always going to give you that effort defensively. Now, offensively, yeah, he's not as skilled. He's not as creative. He's not as crafty as some of these other guys. But the effort on defense is always going to be there, right? The effort on defense is always going to be there. If he's open at the 3-point line, he'll take the shot. Now, I prefer him taking shots in the corner. I don't like him taking shots above the break because he's not really efficient above the break. He's not an efficient 3-point shooter, but I'm more confident when he takes them in the corner, right? And last night against the Trailblazers, how many steals was he? He got, what, 8 steals? Like, bro, that's defense, that's heart, that's effort, that's grit. Poking the ball from these guys, disrupting the offense. Not that Portland was going to be in an offensive flow anyway, but he was a disruptor on the defensive side of the floor last night, and that's what he's been, in these last few games. And he's one of the huge reasons why the Sixers are 8-2 in the last 10 games. Right now, a lot of people are not going to give him credit for that side of the ball, because a lot of people don't really care about defense. A lot of people don't even know how defense work in the NBA. But I think Kelly Oubre, this might be a little bit extreme, but I think he should get some, all defensive recognition, right? Not that he's going to make it, but, he should definitely get some recognition from that side of the floor. Mike Sports Vibe says, facts, bro. Joel shouldn't have to score 40. That's why Paul George has to step up offensively and be consistent, or offensively consistently. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, that's why I said, I don't expect him to score 40, but if Paul George continues to play like that, Embiid could, definitely get closer to that. But, I think if Paul George steps up, Embiid will not have to score 40. Right, if he steps up, if he plays the way he's supposed to be playing, and be aggressive, make his shots, make plays, I think Embiid wouldn't have to score. Oh shit, Embiid wouldn't have to score 40. Right now, I see the comparisons. Sixer fans, some Sixer fans are trying to be nasty, saying that Paul George is just another Tobias Harris, and really. Like, Tobias Harris, the only thing he does better than Paul George is he's probably a better rebounder, and that's it. Like, what else does Tobias Harris do better on the basketball court than Paul George, other than rebound the basketball? And okay, I'll give him post-ups. Other than rebounding and post-ups, what else is he doing better than Paul George? He's not a better defender. He's not a better shooter. He's not a better scorer. He's not a better passer. He's not a better playmaker. He's not a better facilitator. Paul George has way more intangibles than Tobias Harris. Paul George is more vocal on the basketball floor than Tobias Harris. Like, what else did Like, what else does Tobias Harris do better than Paul George? And when I hear stuff like that, I get pissed off because, some of the fans are just trying to troll and others are really serious about it. People really think that Paul George is the same as Tobias Harris. But hey, if that's how you feel, that's how you feel. But I mean, watching, I've been watching these two guys the last, however years, and Tobias Harris is not doing what Paul George is doing. Like no, he isn't. Now, Paul George is being inefficient. Tobias Harris was inefficient, right? Had multiple games where he was shooting tour dates from the field. But to actually sit there and say that Tobias Harris is on the same, Paul George is on the same level as Tobias Harris, that's a little bit disingenuous. Now, yeah, I do acknowledge that, he's playing, offensively, he's playing terribly, but defensively, it's not even a question. Paul George is a disruptor on defense. Paul George is a smarter defender than Tobias Harris. And Paul George's effort defensively has really helped the Sixers a lot. And along with his playmaking, playmaking out of the post, making some of these extra passes, passing up good shots for great shots for, the likes of Caleb Martin, who Caleb Martin really went off on the Boston Celtics on Christmas, right? Making 7 threes, the most threes he's ever made in his career, right? The Boston Slayer. Shout out to him. But Paul George has helped the Sixers go on this win streak. Now, it's only 4 games, I get it, but Paul George has been a huge factor in it, even though he's been highly inefficient. So I think we have to give Paul George his props. Maybe you give him his props for what he's doing defensively. His versatility on defense, from the interior, from the perimeter as well as being in the passing lanes. You know what I'm saying? He's been consistent in that role. But the offensively, I get it. But the comparisons is something that I'm never going to. I'm not going to understand it. I don't like it, and I think people are tripping if they really think that Paul George is Tobias Harris. But yeah, smash that like button, y'all. Smash that like button. Smash that like button. Let me focus on a few of our role players, and I'm gonna drop the link, and y'all can tell me what y'all think. But with this guy on the screen, Caleb Martin. Now, Caleb, oh man, where do I start? I'm a huge fan of Caleb Martin, right? I'm a huge fan of Caleb Martin. And, I love his attitude on the court. I love his attitude off the court. Like, off the court, he's very, very, he's not, some of these guys, you meet them and they act like, everybody's beneath them. But Caleb Martin is not that way, right? Caleb is very, very, he's not, well, what's the word I'm looking for? He's not acting like he's better than everybody else, right? I love his attitude off the court. And then on the court, I'm saying, sometimes he can be a killer, and sometimes he could look a little bit, disinterested, right? Now, against the Boston Celtics, yeah, he definitely went off on them, right? He plays good against Boston every single time. I don't know why, but, the TD Garden is like his playground, right? He plays very, very good and really helped the Sixers a lot, right? He showed that he can knock down open shots if he's wide open, right? And, before that game, he wasn't really shooting the three-pointers that good, and that's why they were willing, Boston, that's why they were willing to give him those wide open looks, because he wasn't shooting that good from the three-point line, right? And there were some plays where, there was this play where Derek White was in a 2-on-1 situation with, I think Paul George drove, and, he kicked it out to Caleb Martin, and then Kyle Lowry was right beside him, right? So Derek White had an opportunity to either, contest Caleb or go to Kyle Lowry so Caleb can take the wide open shot. And guess what he did? He picked up Kyle Lowry and gave the wide open shot to Caleb. And Caleb, absolutely, he took the shot, he made the shot. Now, a case in point that I'm making is that because Caleb has not been playing good, that's why they were confident in giving him those wide open looks, right? And he definitely made them pay for it. Now, if Caleb is hitting his shots and making these 3-pointers and punishing guys from the 3-point line, guess what? It opens up the floor even much more, because what happens is that teams are gonna have to contest them. Whether it's a hard closeout, a soft closeout. When you close out, he can have the chance to attack those closeouts and get in the middle of the floor. And so when you get in the middle of the floor, you can make plays from the middle of the floor. You can either get to the basket or pass to a much better, pass to find a much better shot, right? So Paul George, to Maxey, to anybody else who can make who can take and make a much better shot, right? And we know that the most vulnerable spot on the basketball court is the middle of the floor. That's why a lot of teams don't really want players in the middle of the floor. That's why sometimes you might hear this team is a no middle defense. I mean, no middle team, no middle defense. They don't want you to get in the middle. Now, in the start of the season, the Sixers were a no middle team, right? That's why when we saw guys get in the lane, you'll see 2 or 3 guys overcrowding, right? Because they don't want players to get in the middle of the floor. But if Caleb can make his, make open shots, right, he can start playmaking. And when you can start playmaking, when you can make plays from attacking closeouts, guess what? You put the team offensively in a much better spot, because the defense will have to be in rotation, trying to scramble, trying to get to other places. And guess what? You just make pass after pass to find a much better situation in which you can get a better look at. So I definitely appreciated Caleb, him making those threes. But then the next game, he reverted back to the Caleb Martin that we're used to, or the Caleb Martin that we're accustomed to, right? So shows you that he's highly inconsistent, right? And sometimes you're not going to get the same looks that you got the game previously, but when you get your opportunities, you should make things happen. You should make things work. And when you play with Joel Embiid, guess what? You're going to get a lot of wide open threes, right? Or if it's not even wide open threes, you're going to get a lot of 3-point opportunities that, you should definitely be able to, make open shots, right? So, appreciate Caleb and what he brought to this team against Boston, and against the last 2 games against the Utah Jazz, against the Portland Trailblazers. Me personally, I appreciated the defensive effort, right? And the playmaking, in a way, because last night he had that outlet pass to Gershon Yabusele, and Yabusele made a huge poster over Danny Avdia, right? So if Caleb continues to do what he's doing, and me personally, I like the defensive trio between himself, Paul George, and Kelly Oubre on the perimeter. I really like it. But offensively, I think he can give you much more than what he's doing now. Now, he's not doing anything different from what he did with the Miami Heat in the regular season, right? Because with them, he was averaging about 10 points, 9 points, right? But in the playoffs, that's where he'll take everything to the next level. And he's doing no different from what he was doing there. But I think I want to see more consistency, right? I want to see more consistency. I want to see more aggressiveness on the offensive side of the floor. Now, defensively, I know what he brings, but I just want to see more, consistency from the offensive side of the floor. I don't want Joel Embiid having to score 37 and 36 and close to 40 points. Like, no. We got to see some of these other guys, have the ability to go off, right? Because I believe, now people might disagree with me, but to me, the regular season is kind of like practice for the playoffs in a way. Like the point I'm trying to make is, if you do things in the regular season, they might start to translate into the playoffs, right? So if you have role players and the role players are not playing that good in the regular season, then guess what? They're not going to play that good in the playoffs. But if they're playing that good in the regular season, if they're getting their shots, if they're getting the same opportunities in the regular season, then in the playoffs, they might, it's not a guarantee, but they might replicate the same thing that they did. They might replicate the same thing in the playoffs that they did in the regular season, right? So that's where I'm at with this one. And, the last but not the least, Gershon Yabusele. And Yabusele had a very solid game against the Portland Trailblazers last night. I think in the first half he dropped like 12 or 13. He was like typically going off. And Yabusele brings something to this team. Coming off the bench, or sometimes with those lineups where he's in there with Joel Embiid, like he adds something more to this team. Now, his ability to shoot the three, his ability to slash, get to the rim, and his ability to actually be a low post presence, because against one of those games, against Boston, he had a few post up opportunities. Tyrese Maxey, figuring out the mismatch that he had with Jason Tatum on them in the post. He just easy dump off pass to him, and took two dribbles, bullied him, got him out the way, and easy layup, right? He gives you versatility that we typically haven't really seen in the past before, right? Now, Paul Reed, backup center, sometimes he can get a few 3-pointers to go, but typically he's not really a 3-point shooter. But I mean, Yabusele is shooting close to 40%, right? Or maybe even better than 40% right now, right? And also he can also be a low post presence where he can catch the ball and go up and finish. Sometimes he does blow some wide open layups and wide open opportunities at the rim, but I mean that's anybody, right? You can miss at any time. But the case in point is that he's making shots when needed. He's going off when needed, and sometimes when he comes off the bench, he's giving the Sixers, instant offense, coming off the bench and then, doing what is necessary for the team to win. Now, last night, like I said, he gave you 16, 17 points coming off the bench. That was huge. That was huge, right? That was huge for Yabusele and for the Sixers, right? 16 points and 4 rebounds. So, if he continues to play this way, he will definitely earn, a solid payday from another team, right? In the off season, right? Especially coming from somebody who hasn't been in the NBA in the past 5 years, and then you come into the NBA and you're going off the way you have been. Whether it's in the starting lineup, coming off the bench, like he's playing very, very good as a utility guy. I'm not saying as a first, second, or third option, but as a utility guy, he's definitely doing his job, right? I don't know what he's averaging for this season. I mean, somebody can look it up for me, but he's been a bright spot for the Sixers, right? He's been a bright spot for the Sixers, night in and night out, and I really appreciate what he does. Now, there's been a lot of rumors on whether or not if he's going to get traded. Now, people want him traded. I mean, not that people want him traded, but there's a huge possibility that he doesn't return to the Sixers next season. So people were suggesting that the Sixers trade him to prevent him from walking for free in free agency, which I mean that's a good idea. But me personally, I'd say just wait it out and let's see if he can be a winning player in the playoffs. Can he help you win a playoff series? Now, when I say help you win a playoff series, again, I'm not saying that he should be a first, second, or third option. All I'm saying is, can he, be a complementary piece to help you in the playoffs? Can he make open shots in the playoffs? Right? Coming off the bench, can he give you something in those minutes where Embiid is not on the floor? Like whether it's offensively, defensively, can he give you a spark coming off the bench? Right. That's what I want to see. So me personally, I disagree with the trade, the trade talks, but again, the NBA is a business, so I wouldn't even be surprised if that happened. So, but yeah, Sixers playing good. Like I said, I did touch on everybody else, and since the last time we talked, a lot has happened. With the Sixers, KJ Martin getting injured, and then Jared McCain getting injured as well, which his rookie campaign came to an end because he's not going to play the remainder of the season. Had a meniscus injury, so but wishing him a speedy recovery. Wishing everybody else a speedy recovery. KJ Martin as well as Andre Drummond. He's missed the last 2 or 3 games. Yeah, the last 3 games, because the last game he played was against the Spurs. He didn't play on Christmas. He didn't play against the Jazz, and last night he did not play against the against the Portland Trailblazers. So if he's dealing with any injuries, again, wishing him a speedy recovery. But the Sixers they're playing very very good. Um, and they can continue to play, and they can continue to keep making progress and keep inching closer and closer into the play-in, and then they can make their way out of the play-in, right? So, and especially in the Eastern Conference, it's not the East is not the West, right? The Western Conference, you got teams out the play-in picture with a winning record, but that's not the case in the Eastern Conference, right? That's not the case in the Eastern Conference. Um, actually, I was capping. Shout out to my guy, Rap Guy Reloaded. Appreciate you, appreciate you. The Suns are the 11th seed, and the Suns are one game under 500. So the Warriors have a 500 record. They're 16-16, and they are the 10th seed. So, but I mean, the point still remains is that the East is not the West, right? Phoenix, if they were in the East with the record they have, they'd probably be in a much better spot. But I mean, it's the West, and the race is very very close. I think from the 8th seed to 11th, 12th seed is very very it's very very close. But the Sixers, like I said, they're continuing to play very very good. I think one person who deserves to get a lot of credit is Nick Nurse. He's really come in huge for the Sixers. Was getting a lot of blame from the start of the season, but I think he's making much better changes. The rotations has been good. The times in which he makes his subs have been good as well. And sometimes it's just some spurts in the games where it's just the offense just becomes so Embiid centric, right? Where it's like they're dumping the ball into Embiid every single time, and it's less player movement, less ball movement, and it's just like Embiid just ISO and just take us home. And I don't like that offense. Like I said last week, that offense has not been successful. I think you have to move the ball. Players have to move around. There has to be a lot of cutting, a lot of screen setting, and things of that nature. That's the offense that would really benefit the Sixers, not the Embiid. Dump it into Embiid and watch him ISO and send all the other guys to the weak side. That's not going to work for the Sixers, right? It's not going to work for the Sixers. Now, the frequency of that is not so high. And I'm talking about the Embiid centric offense. The frequency is not so high. So it'll definitely go down, I believe, or I'm hoping it goes down. I want to see a lot of ball and player movement, because on Christmas Day, when they move the ball, that's where the Sixers were getting some of these, easy opportunities. And that's how Caleb Martin was getting some of these wide open looks, off of driving kicks. Right. So in other words, the Sixers were killing the Celtics with their own medicine. They gave the Celtics the taste of their own medicine, right? Off of driving kicks. So that's what I want to see the offense. That's where I want to see the offense. Not no Embiid centric offense. I want to see more ball and player movement. But I'll definitely give Nick Nurse credit on that. And also, Kelly Oubre's ascension on defense. I'll definitely give Nick Nurse some credit for that as well. Right? Because we haven't, or me personally, I haven't seen Kelly Oubre play this good defensively. Right. And it's not just against terrible players. It's not against terrible teams. It's actually against some of the best players. The reigning Finals MVP, he was playing good defense on him. So, yeah, that's where I'm at with it. But, I don't know, but I can drop the link, and if anybody want to give me their thoughts on the Sixers, how they've been playing these last 10 or 5 games, we can definitely talk about it. But I'm not really surprised. I'm not really shocked, because the Sixers, like I said, weren't playing good because of, well, a lot of things, right? A lot of factors as to why they were not playing good. Guys being in and out the lineups, guys dealing with injuries, guys being inconsistent, right? Guys not showing up on a night-to-night basis. And, just the whole workload on Tyrese Maxey, that really hurt the Sixers. Yeah. Rap Guy, yeah. Happy New Year. Happy New Year. I mean, this is gonna be the last show on the channel for this year. I really had not a great year, but I had a good year. Covering the Sixers this year. This is year 2 for me. I've had a good year, and hopefully, much better things to come in the next. I mean, in 2025. But yeah, rap guy, I appreciate you. Appreciate you. Yeah, happy New Year. Hope everything's going well on your side. The Sixers playing good, inching their way into the play-in, and hopefully out of the play-in. We definitely want to see that, right? We definitely want to see it. But yeah, as of right now, I think it's safe to think that Cleveland is going to be the first seed to end the season. I mean, even though anything could happen, right? Shots to my guy Tuna Sports once again. Um, yeah, Cleveland first seed. Boston, New York, Orlando, Atlanta. Atlanta has been a huge surprise. I mean, they're the fifth seed as of currently, and I did not see that coming at all. Yeah, I didn't see that coming, but um, they're the fifth seed. Milwaukee's sixth seed. Miami's a seventh seed, and whatever's going on with the Miami Heat. And oh, that reminds me, Jimmy Butler. Now there was. I'll just touch on this. In a few minutes here. I'm not really gonna spend too much time on it. There's a report that the Jimmy wants to trade out of Miami, and some Sixer fans were saying that trade Paul George for Jimmy Butler. First of all, that will not happen for two reasons, right? Number one, the Miami Heat do not trade their best players to teams in the Eastern Conference. I'll say that one more time. The Miami Heat do not trade their best players to teams in the Eastern Conference. You can do your research on the Miami Heat from Alonzo Mourning to Tim Hardaway and some of the best players, Shaq, that they traded. They traded all those players to teams in the Western Conference. So that's one. And number two, Jimmy is on an expiring deal, right? And Paul George just signed a fresh 4 year, 5 year, whatever that was, right? Max contract. So from a front office standpoint of view, they're not going to make that trade because what if you trade, like, let's say you do make that trade and Jimmy Butler ends up walking in free agency? You took a loss. But the reason why it's not going to happen is because the contracts are not really matching, right? And in order for the Sixers to make a move like that, Miami's going to have to throw in picks. And I don't think Miami, with Paul George at the age that he is, I don't think they will really want to trade Jimmy Butler and picks to get Paul George. It's just not going to happen. So Sixer fans that really, even entertain this thought, that is terrible. I think at this point you just have to let it go. Jimmy Butler will not play for the Sixers again. Or let me not say maybe not again, but maybe a few years down the line he might, when he's a a veteran minimum play, he might play for the Sixers. I mean, who knows? But he's not coming back to the Sixers. At least they're not trading him here. So you just have to let it go. Just have to let it go. The front office made a terrible decision, but at this point, you just gotta let it go. But yeah, I appreciate y'all for watching. Appreciate y'all. Last day of the year, 2024. This year was very, very very, very interesting. Right, a lot of things happened this year. A lot of surprises. The Boston Celtics winning the championship, that was a surprise. But yeah. Yeah. And I mean in Philly, I mean it's a lot of surprises as well. Um but I'm not really going to talk about it. I'm not going to talk about it, but yeah, I think the Sixers are going to continue to be they're going to continue to be this good, and they're going to continue to win games and do what's necessary and get into the what you call it and get into the play-in, right? But it's still a lot of games left, so the Sixers can definitely, they can definitely get more better, right? You can definitely get more better, more consistent, with Paul George, Caleb Martin, and some of these other guys, Kelly Oubre. I mean, you're not gonna always be efficient from the floor every night, right? You're not always gonna be efficient, but we just want to see more consistency. So yeah, that's where I'm at. That's where I'm at with it right now. Um, yeah, I think I give it a few more minutes, and then I'm gonna shut it down. But yeah, appreciate the love, appreciate the support. Um, yeah, from each and every person that subs to the channel or that tunes in to watch. Even though I've been gone the last few I've been gone the last few weeks, but we'll start doing more shows. Right, we'll start doing more shows. Salute to the Pull Up Basketball Podcast. Appreciate you, BJ. Salute, Andre. Salute. BJ, I dropped the link. If you want to give your thoughts on the Sixers, the last 10 games or last 5 games or last night's game, yeah, we can definitely talk about it. But all right, no problem. All right, cool. But yeah, I think touching on a few points here, I think yeah, Maxey, he's definitely making a case for the All Star game. I mean, the All Star game is in February, so he still has about a month to make a case to be an All Star this year. Like I said, there's only 12, right? 12 players. Yes, 12 players, and at the guard spot, Jalen Brunson, Donovan Mitchell, Trey Young, Damian Lillard, like those guys they're gonna make the All Star team, right? But apart from those 4 guys, who else could make the All Star team? Right? Who else? Now maybe, but I mean that'll sound crazy, but I mean maybe who knows? Maybe Jalen Suggs might end up in an All Star game. Maybe Darius Garland might end up in an All Star game. Um, Tyrese Halliburton, I mean he hasn't really been so. I mean his performances this season is not what it was last season, right? Last year, I think he was a starter, but no, not this year. This year's been so different for him. But yeah, I think Maxey can definitely make the All Star game, right? He can definitely make it from the guard spot. Now, maybe not as a starter, but as a reserve, he can definitely make it. But I think the starters might, and I forgot Jalen Brown. Shout out to Jalen Brown, but from the from the East as a starter, I think it could probably be. I think Donovan Mitchell is definitely a starter, right? Donovan Mitchell, and then it's everybody else, whether it's Jalen Brown or Damian Lillard or whoever. I think Maxey can definitely get that 6 spot, right? I think Maxey can definitely get that 6 spot. So yeah, but I mean, from the forwards, I mean, who? I think Evan Mobley can definitely make it. Jason Tatum is definitely going to make it. Giannis is definitely going to make it. Um, well, Jimmy Butler, I don't think Jimmy's an All Star this year, but yeah, it's definitely going to be interesting, right? It's definitely going to be interesting who makes the All Star team from the East. Now the West, that's a whole, it's a different conversation, but yeah, we'll have to see. We'll have to wait and see. What's good, BJ? What's good? What's good,
Yo, what's up, Andre? Got some
man?
time to talk.
Chilling.
chat with you a little bit. I'm actually outside, but nah, man, you guys, like I said, y'all rolling. Y'all like 8 of the last 10, and it was just a matter of time before y'all got y'all flow going and just got the lineups together. But Nick Nurse is coaching the way he's coaching because Embiid's back on the court playing, and when you don't have your guys on the court, then it's hard for
Yeah, I think it's might cut out. I think it's might cut out. BJ, if you listen, I think it might cut out.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
No, I said Nick Nurse. What's the last thing you heard?
Yeah, you said Embiid is on the floor. That's why he's coaching the way he is.
Yeah, he's on the floor. Like, if your best player on the floor playing, then it's kind of hard for your coach to, get some stability.
Right.
So if you have him on the court and he's playing and he's actually playing like, at a high level, it helps everybody else be in their spots. But yeah, it some of the stuff that you were saying about uh you know, Kelly Oubre, another person, Caleb Martin, they've been up in their game. That's why y'all are looking how y'all looking, because those are the glue guys. Those are the guys that get extra possessions. Those are the guys that get opportunities for everybody to score, make things easier for the stars. So now that everybody's playing and playing at a good level and playing confident, that helps everybody else. And y'all, like I said, you've been missing KJ Martin and Jared McCain. So y'all have a good deep team. Gershon Yabusele, people are starting to see how good he is. He can just stretch the floor and shoot. He's physical inside. But the problem is y'all had him play in the 5 position. So when Embiid's right next to him, that helps Gershon take the load off of him not to play 5. Drummond ain't been playing. So a lot of players ain't been on the court where you guys have a lot of pieces to work with. And you're right about PG, man. This is why casuals are casuals. They don't understand the game. Like, you don't fucking talk about none of the 10 rebound games he done had, the 5 steals, him being their best playmaker. He's their best playmaker. He's their best on-ball defender. Yes, he's better than Kelly Oubre. Yes, he's better than Caleb Martin. He's a better on-ball defender, better off the ball as well. And he gets a lot of rebounds, and he's their best playmaker. Yes, Tyrese Maxey, he's a great scorer, but he has a lot of dumbass turnovers with the ball in his hands. And he tends to run the same thing over and over, that pick and roll over and over again. Paul George takes a lot of pressure off of all those guys for what he can do both ways of the ball. Now, he ain't been shooting the ball good since the last 5-6 games, but he's still shooting better from the field than Tyrese Maxey was for the majority of the season. But when Embiid came back into the mix, if you realize, that took Paul George out of his rhythm. So now he has to try to find a way to go back to the third option. He's not getting the same amount of touches he was before. That's all that really is. I mean, casuals will feel up and say, "Oh, they're not even watching the games." He's literally helping the entire team get wins, and that's not showing up on the stat sheet. The hockey assists that he's setting up other guys to get open shots. Caleb Martin, Gershon, like, that's all coming from him and the gravity that he is. And the people that say he's Tobias Harris 2.0, like I said, they're casuals. They don't understand the game. I can't talk to people who don't understand the fucking game and don't watch. Right. But his field goal percentage needs to be up. He needs to shoot the ball better. He shouldn't have shot how he shot against Boston. That was unacceptable. But other than that, man, he's gonna get his rhythm like he was playing before Embiid got back on the court.
Right. Yeah, I was expecting him to go off in the Jazz against the Jazz, because I mean, back with the Clippers, he went off on the Jazz a few times, but it didn't happen that way. So, but like I said, you're absolutely right with other things that he does on the floor. With his defense, the playmaking, the passing, setting up guys, finding easy opportunities for guys, from the 3-point line, in the post. Yabusele, even Kelly Oubre, because Kelly Oubre gets some of these easy backdoor cuts, and he's getting feeded from PG and some of these other guys. So Paul George, when I heard the Tobias Harris comparisons, I just laughed because I knew people were trolling, but at the same time, a lot of people really believe that he's Tobias
No,
Harris.
they're not trolling. They serious as fuck. They are not trolling. That's why and that's the scary part. Like it's half of them are trolling. Yes, I get it. It's it's easy to make fun of PG, whatever the case may be. But you got a bunch of dumbasses in the NBA community, man, who do not understand the game and don't understand impact. He has
Right.
he helped raise the confidence of guys like Kelly Oubre and Caleb Martin to take those shots. Why do you think he's
Yeah, BJ, you went out right there. But it was funny when I really.
hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
What's the last thing you heard?
You said Kelly Oubre and Caleb Martin. He's really helping them get their
Yeah,
confidence up.
he's giving them confidence to shoot those shots. Like I said, when MB was out, a lot of shit was going on. Like guys had to find their rhythm. Caleb Martin was ass up until that Boston game. Kelly
Right.
Oubre was ass for a period of time, scoring the ball and shooting the ball and shit like that. But when PG stepped on the court and actually gave them opportunities to score the ball, that's going to give you a chance to get your shots up, get your confidence back on the court. But that people don't look at that. I look at everything. I look at all that. That's y'all best playmaker, y'all best on ball defender, and he helps make the job easier of everybody else defensively because he's willing to get 5, 6, 7 steals. Kelly Oubre
Right.
too. Kelly Oubre too, but people just box.
You still there?
Yeah. I said he needs to shoot the ball better, absolutely. But people act like he's just out there, just sitting around with his hands on his waist and ain't doing shit.
Yeah.
That's why I'm like, y'all not watching the fucking games.
Right. And then some people said that he picked up the third foul last night purposely. And I was like, bro, it was just a bad call from the officials. No player wants to be in foul trouble. No player wants to be out there and not playing. That's just I just don't believe that. And it was just unfortunate that, he picked up three fouls and had to miss the entire second. And then he came in the third and it's just like no rhythm. But I mean, I'm just looking at it from a different point of view because, you know, the Sixers are winning games, and it's not that PG's not doing anything. He's really playing defense. Like you said, the playmaking, the passing, the facilitating aspect. He's doing that. The only thing that he's not doing is, he's not scoring the ball efficiently. And I think if he starts, scoring the ball efficiently, then the Sixers are going to be a much better team than they are right now. But as of right now, we should just be happy that they're winning games and PG is not, scoring the ball efficiently, even though he's finding shots, easy shots for some of these guys, and making the game so easy for some of these guys. Even for Kelly Oubre, what Paul George does defensively, people don't really give him credit for that. And I mean, defense is not really, it's not fancy, so you're not going to get a lot of props on that from that side of the floor. But I mean, I understand the game, and I understand, impact and what he does for this team on both sides of the floor. So I'm just able to give credit where credit is due, and I'm able to criticize where, when I have to criticize, right? So, but I'm not surprised. Sixer fans, some Sixer fans are terrible, and it's not the first time I heard something like this, right? It's not the first time I heard something like this, and yeah, it's definitely going to be much worse takes from here. But hopefully against the Sacramento Kings, closer to home, hopefully Paul George has a much better game, and people can start giving him credit from there.
No, it's I mean, you just said it. It's not fancy. Defense ain't fancy, but it wins. Like with the games he's been playing, like check out Jared McCain and Tyrese Maxey when MB was out and PG was out. A lot of them games, it was McCain and Maxey. How many of them games were y'all winning?
Repeat that again one more time. I missed the first part.
So McCain and Maxey, when they were going on that scoring threat, you remember that at the beginning?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I had Embiid out and Paul George was out for a majority of that stretch, and everybody was just marveling over Jared McCain, which he's a good player, but all that scoring didn't get y'all anywhere but L's. Like
Right.
that's not going to win. Like if you don't have Kelly Oubre, if you don't have Paul George, if you don't have Joel Embiid, if you don't have Caleb Martin, those glue guys doing all that extra shit, none of that, all that scoring ain't gonna matter. So the thing is that I would listen to a person and say, okay, he needs to shoot the ball better. That's a good take. But to sit up there and say he's not doing anything and he's to buy, like that's how you know you're talking to an idiot.
Nah, no bullshit though. I mean, but I mean, some of these guys, yeah, like you said, they don't really watch the games, and they're just looking at the stat sheet, looking at the box scores, and making takes from there. But you can't just watch the stat sheet and make a take if you didn't really watch the games, right? You got to watch the games and understand what each player is doing, how they're really impacting the team, how they're impacting the game on both sides of the floor, and then you can go ahead and give a take. But yeah, look. Tune in sports in the comment section trolling. Tobias Harris is better than Paul George, but I mean, Tune in sports is trolling. I can live with that. He trolling. It's not real. He says, "So are you going to keep the same energy, DF?" I mean, if he plays terribly, guess what? He'll get criticized. It's that simple.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. I can listen to a person who says, okay, he needs to shoot the ball more efficiently, but he was shooting the ball efficiently until Embiid got back on the court, and that takes away from his touches. That takes away from his That's why you gotta have guys on the court at the same time. Like the reason why y'all losing a lot of y'all games because your guys were on the court. All this was about. You had people saying blow the team up. I'm
Right.
like, why in the what are y'all? That's why I'm saying like I'll be listening to some of these people be like, damn, these guys really don't understand the game of basketball. And then they turn around, they beat Boston on Christmas Day.
Right.
So, I mean, what you think? What you think y'all biggest out obstacle is? What teams y'all think y'all biggest obstacles? Y'all beat Orlando, y'all beat Boston. Y'all gotta play New York. I want to see y'all play New York again. I want to see y'all play Cleveland again. Who y'all think y'all biggest obstacles are?
Biggest. I mean, me personally, like I said, I would say Boston because I mean, yeah, we did beat Boston the first time, but I just want to see how we play them for the second time because I mean, Drew Holiday really does a lot for them. Now, Drew didn't really play in the first one. Porzingis didn't play in the second one, so I want to see us play the Celtics at full strength and see what it looks like. Now, I think they're the only obstacle. I don't think Cleveland is going to get in our way. Sorry about that, Tune in Sports, but I think Boston is in our way. Now, New York, I can definitely listen to that because New York has what they have similar to what we have, right? They have a center who can who can get his numbers from anywhere on the floor, and then they have some good defensive pieces out
Who?
there on the floor. Cat,
Okay, Carlton Towns.
yeah,
Okay.
and then they have like defensive guys like three and D guys like OG, Mikhail, and what you call it, Josh Hart. Right. But I mean they're good, but I mean offensively they're not gonna give you the same amount of production that some of the guys on the Sixers will give you. But I think defensively they can definitely match up against any perimeter player out there on the floor. So I'll say Boston number one and then the Knicks number two. That's where I'm going with it. That's where I'm going with it. And when
Why
we play
not
the Knicks,
Cleveland?
nah, Cleveland's not. Cleveland's not. It's not. They're not in our way. Cleveland. Once Embiid sees Jared Allen, he's gonna be lunch meat every single time. So
Oh, so you say Embiid's gonna be the dominant matchup in that series?
yeah, simple as that.
What about Miami and Orlando?
I mean, Miami. I think I'm really concerned with their inconsistencies because I mean, you got Jimmy Butler in and out the lineups. Spoelstra hasn't really been good to start the season off with his rotation, so I'm not really trusting them. But Orlando's definitely going to be. I mean, Orlando, they're very, very quick, very, very fast on the perimeter. Um, they like to capitalize in transition a lot. They're very, very good rebounders. They have a lot of, some of these taller players, 7-footers, 6'10" guys that can really dominate you on the glass. But I mean, the two best players are dealing with injury, so the Sixers can definitely win if they face them, because they're also having some inconsistency problems and they have a lot of injuries. But yeah, it'll be a good matchup. But I think the Sixers will definitely prevail. They'll definitely come up top.
Yeah, I want to see y'all play them with Embiid, because first time y'all played them was a little bit ugly. But I think I need to see y'all play them with Embiid on the court.
Yeah, I don't think we play them anymore, because we didn't play them like 4 times already.
Cleveland.
Yeah, we played Cleveland twice. The first time we played them very, very good, but we lost, and then the second time it was a blowout. But yeah, I want to see. Yeah, we haven't played Cleveland with Embiid, so I want to see us play Cleveland with Embiid and see what that looks like.
So y'all don't play them this year?
Cleveland?
Yeah.
We'll play them one more time.
Y'all need to get that win. Y'all need to play them and get that win. I think y'all can beat Orlando, because I think Franz Wagner, is he out for the whole year?
France. Now I think his brother is, but not France.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think y'all can beat Orlando. Y'all should beat. Y'all got more star power.
Right. Better shooters, because they're very, very inconsistent shooting the three.
I don't think Boston's as scared for y'all as publicized. I think, like I said, I think the team that matches up well with y'all is the Knicks, which I think y'all beat the Knicks this time, and I think the Cavs are going to be surprised. I think the Cavs are going to be able to give y'all a run for y'all money too. I don't think the Celtics are the team that's going to be y'all biggest issue.
You don't think the Celtics? I mean, I'm saying the Celtics because I mean they dominated the Sixers. They're the defending champs, so
they shoot too many threes.
They do.
That's not a winning. I mean, yeah, they won it last year, but there's injuries as well. But I think a team like y'all can take them out.
Yeah, that'd be huge. That'd be huge. But I mean, yeah, I just want to see them with Drew Holiday, because I mean I want to see how Maxey can fare when he's being showed different looks every single time, and will Paul George have another inefficient shooting or scoring night as well? Can Paul George step up? Can Embiid try to get other guys involved? Can Caleb Martin make the same amount of outside? I mean, maybe not the same amount of outside shots, but can make something closer to what he made against them. I just want to see how we play against him for the second time, and then I can make my judgment from there.
I mean, and then you have to be able to guard. You got to be able to guard him north to south. Can Drew Holiday do that for an entire? I don't know. His speed. We know Jaylen Brown came through it, so Drew Holiday is going to be the only person going to be able to guard him. And Tyrese Maxey with all that speed, I'm not so sure.
I mean, I'm just saying maybe they're gonna showing him different looks every single time. How is he gonna react or respond when they're showing him those many different looks, and maybe one time is Jaylen Brown and the next time is Drew Holiday, and then Derek White might try to switch over and try to cover. I want to see him go up against defenses like that before I can make my judgment.
Yeah, they'll probably put Jaylen Brown on PG.
Yeah,
they'll probably put him on PG.
I think PG. I think the second matchup he'll definitely be more efficient, but I want to see him be more aggressive, because against Boston on Christmas, I felt like Jason Tatum was being more aggressive with him, but he wasn't really going at Jason Tatum on the other side. He wasn't really showing him that same aggressiveness, and that was a concern for me, because I wanted to see them go back and forth. But it didn't happen that way, but I mean I don't think that really mattered in another sense, because you had other guys step up, and guys were making open shots, so he didn't really have to.
When Paul George don't see the ball go through the basket, you could tell it kind of messes with his like when the ball's going inside, he sees it going in. You could see he's more of like assertive. So if the ball's not going in, he's not scoring the ball. He kind of like chooses to step back more, take a step back.
Right.
That's how he is. Like when the ball's going in the basket and he sees them shots, like oh yeah, he'll kill you. But when it's not going in, it's like and there's shots that he knows he can make, then he starts kind of like taking his foot off the gas.
Yeah, I've seen that multiple times. I've seen that multiple times. But I mean, I'd rather, but I'd rather he still, try to look for his shots. I mean, not be selfish, but still be in attack mode. But we know what he does defensively. When shots is not falling, he's definitely going to play make. But sometimes I think he should, try to look for his shots. Most of those times, I think looking for his shots. I mean, it could help you because when that Christmas game, he was clearly not in rhythm, and that last play, he went to the free throw line. I thought he was gonna split it, but he ended up knocking down both free throws, and the Sixers ended up winning the game. So, but yeah, I want to see him be more aggressive
Why'd you think he was gonna split it?
because he was not in rhythm the whole. I think he was 0 for 8, 0 for 7 from the 3-point line. So, and he had some mid range shots that he missed. So I had a feeling that he might split, but he ended up making both of them.
Yeah, his free throws have been down this year, uh, and that's just him and out the lineup and him not playing all his games 100%, bro. Like it's gonna be, they still got like about more than half the season left, so he'll get into rhythm, and it's gonna take only one game where he's gonna start making a string of games where he's gonna score the ball. But
Right.
that's basketball, man. Like Maxey had a tough stretch too. Uh, all these guys have tough stretches, man. Like if you look throughout the league, so that's just how it is. That's the NBA.
Right. LeBron had his tough stretch. Yeah, BJ, I just want to ask you this question. You think him playing with Joel Embiid, that's why he's starting to struggle a little bit, or you just think that he's just going through it, just like any other player, they just go through terrible stretches.
No, I think it's Embiid
Mm.
because if you watched the go look at the games before it was just Maxey and PG. The games against Charlotte, game against Orlando, games against uh the Pacers when Embiid left the game. Like he was shooting hell of efficient and he was being like assertive because he knew what he was on the court. He was their best
Mhm.
playmaker. I that's why I made that video. I said they need to put him as the first, second option because the offense seems more smoother when it's ran through him. Meaning, I'm not talking about he has to shoot the shots. I'm saying like he needs to touch the ball. So now that you got Embiid back on the court, I was watching even the game against the Jazz. Andre, they ran the same play, pick and roll with him and Embiid 5 times, and Paul George is
Mhm.
on the corner just with his hands on his hips. That's a problem. You gotta let other guys touch the ball. Like he's a big. It's not a big two. It's a big three. So you gotta at least give him the opportunity to even touch the rock. So when Embiid gets back on the court and he wants to score the ball and score 25, 30, 35 points when he ain't got to, yeah, it's gonna affect. And this is what people don't listen. They don't pay attention to. Like when you lose your rhythm, you're getting so much less touches. Yeah, it's gonna mess with your efficiency. It's gonna mess with your rhythm and everything. Like I said, just go back and watch the games when PG was on the court when there's no Embiid.
Yeah, but don't you think people are going to say that it was against the Charlotte Hornets? That's why he went off, or it was against some of these. I mean, Orlando, he did go off as well, but
He went
some of
off
these
against the
haters.
Knicks.
Yeah, he went. But I mean, Embiid was on the court with the Knicks.
Embiid was hobbled.
He was.
My point is that you can't have a player of his caliber not touching the rock multiple possessions.
Oh yeah, I agree
That's
with that.
that's
Hmm.
unacceptable. You got to give him a chance to even touch the fucking ball. And when you give
Right.
him a chance to feel the ball, okay, I'm feeling involved. So yeah, just like I said, matter of fact, do this. go ahead and go pull up his numbers up until that what game did the Spurs game? Go pull up the numbers real quick up into that Spurs game real quick and show it on the screen what he was doing. I want it so the chat can see it.
The game for the Spurs game.
The game when Embiid came back was against the Spurs. Go and look at all up until before that Spurs game. Look at his averages and pull it on the screen and tell me if you don't see a difference in drought in his attempts and his field goal percentage shooting up until now.
Oh yeah, there's definitely been a drought. Definitely been a drought. In the efficiency, the amount of shot attempts, even the amount of touches. To be honest with you, but these stats are not going to give you the amount of touches. But I mean, I see what you're saying. I mean, him standing in the corner, they're trying to use him as a catch and shoot player. But Paul George can definitely do more than just catch and shoot. Like he can initiate offense, he can make passes out of double teams, make passes out of the post, and he can also, ISO. He's an ISO player himself, so he can also take players.
Put it on the screen. Put it on the screen. Can you pull it up on the ESPN?
Yeah.
Because I don't want people to think I'm just talking because I'm like thinking about damn, I don't understand how people don't see this shit. And I'm not saying Embiid's in the wrong because when you have Embiid on your team, you're gonna take a step. It's like having Kawhi. You're gonna have to take a step back.
Right.
But it shouldn't be that big of a step where he's not touching the rock for multiple possessions. That's an issue.
Oh yeah, I agree with that. I agree. But yeah, I think it's going to be difficult to pull up those stats before Embiid got back in the lineup because they played like 4 games since then. So
no, I'm saying just pull up, go to PG, go to ESPN, and look at his numbers. Go to game log, look at his numbers, and before the Spurs game, that's the game that Embiid came back and played after that nasal fracture. Pull up those games and show what his percentages were before Embiid when it was just PG and Maxey on the court, and they were still winning games.
Yeah,
it wasn't like they were winning games. They were playing. They beat good team. They were beating teams. It wasn't like he was putting up empty numbers. That's why I'm saying they got to find a way to. Even if you don't shoot the ball, he got to at least feel it. He got to at least touch it. Give him an opportunity to make an assist. Give him an opportunity for him to make a big, that's how you're going to keep him involved because they're going to need him down the stretch of the season into the playoffs. You don't want to use him as no damn decoy.
Right. Exactly. Yeah, that's how. Yeah, they definitely have to involve in the offense. So here it is right here. Let me get the picture off the screen. Yeah, so before the Spurs. Yeah, so they played Cleveland, which he had a terrible game against. My fault. Oh, there's a game going on right now. I didn't know that. But yeah, before they played the Spurs, they played Cleveland. They played Charlotte 2 times. They played Indiana, Chicago. Yeah, I think the first game against Charlotte, that was the best PG. Gave you 33 points and 8 assists.
The Chicago game, Embiid played that game, so go keep
right.
going.
So the Orlando game that the Sixers won, Embiid did not play that game. And he gave you 21 points, 9 assists.
That's a good game. Keep going.
That's a good game. Against Detroit, I'm not sure. Now Embiid did not play against Detroit. Yeah, he struggled 4 for 12 from the field, but he gave you 11 points, 5 assists, and the Sixers ended up winning that game.
That was the start of that winning streak, and PG sat out for the second half because he tweaked his knee.
He tweaked it, right.
He didn't even play full minutes that game.
Right, and they didn't want. They were trying to be precautionary. That's why they benched him.
Exactly.
But yeah, for the most part, yeah, you've been right. He struggled in a few games that I see here. But yeah, with Embiid, I think he's gonna have to adjust. Right, he's gonna have to adjust, but also they're gonna have to get him involved more in the offense
Yeah,
as well.
even if that means, even if that means putting Maxey off the ball more, because what I've seen a lot of times, even and I get it in Utah, they're playing Utah, it was working. If it's working, keep going with it. The pick and roll with him and Embiid, that's cool. But you can't have him. You can't have Maxey and Embiid only ones two touching the ball because every time Embiid gets, he's a ball stopper. Every time he gets the ball, that he's not really looking to pass. He's looking to
Pass
score.
it. Right.
So if you're gonna do that, at least let PG because Maxey gonna get his shots. They're gonna give Maxey opportunities to score. So at least give PG opportunity to at least have the ball to bring it up. At least let him you know operate with the ball in his hands. You put him on the side with just have his hands on his shoulders. You treat him like he's Tobias Harris, and he's not.
Right, he can do more than Tobias Harris. That's for sure. But yeah, BJ, I'm getting ready to close out. You got any final thoughts on the Sixers?
Nah, man, nah. But it's been a great year, man. Very proud of you, what you've been doing, man. Keep up with good work. I know you're gonna have a better year even next year. So yeah, man, I'm very happy for you. Keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah, appreciate it. Same goes to you too. But yeah, yeah, chat. This sorry about that, but oh, shout out to my guy Dominique Brown. We call him the Michael Jordan of Tobias. Man, y'all got to cut it out, Dominique. I respect your basketball acumen, but to say something like that, that's just not true, right? That just isn't true. Like he does more on the court than Tobias Harris. So, but yeah, appreciate you for stopping by. Appreciate you. Um, hold on now, BJ. Tobias can score at all levels on the floor though. Yo, tune in sports. Stop trolling, bro. Stop trolling. But yeah, I gotta end the show right here. Appreciate y'all for tuning in. Shout out to my guy BJ for hitting the link, stopping by, and chopping it up about the Sixers. Shout out to my guy Dominique Brown, Sixer fan. Shout out to Tuning Sports as well. Appreciate y'all for tuning in. My guy One Mike in the building. Shout out to my guy Mike Sports Vibes, who was in from the beginning as well. Yeah, the Sixers, they're doing what they're supposed to do. 4-game winning streak. I said 18. I'm gonna still stick with it. But yeah, I appreciate y'all for tuning in. I'm gonna catch you guys on the next one. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, please make sure you're subbed to the channel. Smash that like button as well. No, Paul George is not the Michael Jordan or Tobias Harris is. He's much better. Yeah. Appreciate you tuning in. Appreciate you, Dominic Brown. But I'm gonna catch you guys on the next one. Peace.